What do you regard in your baseball career as the happiest time? The best year, the best 6 months, the time that you were, because it doesn't sound like any one of those years might be as happy as your best year now if you're sort of slogging through it, trying to figure out what happy looks like.
Yeah. I think I would say two. I would say when I got the call from George Steinbrenner that he wanted me to join his Yankee team and to, come team up with Derek Jeter, and agreeing very quickly that I would move in the prime of my career
As the better shortstop.
Why, I just won.
I'm saying that for you. You don't have to say, but you were the better shortstop at by the metrics, and you moved to third base. You went to third base because he's the captain, and it was his team.
Well, and I think Derek would be the first one to tell you that if he came to Texas, he would have moved to third. And respect is something that I believe in. I gave him my word that I was going to play third base and third base only. And I just made it very clear. I said, if there's ever a conversation about me going back to shortstop, I'm going to go back to Texas, because I wanted to honor Derek, and I didn't want any drama around the position. And I went over and worked really hard at third base and became a suitable third baseman. So I think George calling me over, Steinbrenner, and then obviously 2009, bringing the World Championship back to New York for the 27th World Championship in one of the most franchise.
After struggling in postseasons, in pressurized postseasons, sure. Like after year, you're one of the best players in baseball, mm-hmm. and now people are, accusing you of mental frailty because baseball's hard, and sometimes people hit 200 in a 14-game sample.
Dan, I don't see it that way. And again, this is where I think having some space from that time, the truth is, when you're one of the best hitters in a lineup, you get circled. And they come at you with everything they have. And sometimes the best thing you can do in the World Series, I think Gary Sheffield did a nice job of this, and Barry Bonds did too. You got to just take your walks. And once I realized that it wasn't about me, and it was about we, and it wasn't about what my stats were, but I would literally drive to every playoff game with Andy Pettit, because he was my neighbor in Westchester. And he would help me out. And he was at this time a 4-time world champion. And he pitched Game 6, which was a Game 6 that we won. He pitched great game and handed the ball to Mariano against the Phillies. And Victorino made the last out. Ground ball to Cano, to Teixeira, the Yankees, a world champs for the 27th time, as Joe Buck said. It was incredible because it was like a master class from one of the greatest champions that I've ever met in Andy Pettit, where he would talk to me about hitting, pitch selection, what the opposition was thinking as they were facing me. And then I would reverse it, and he would ask me, okay, what do I have to do to beat the Angels, to beat the Twins, and ultimately to beat the Phillies? And Dan, it was some of the most enjoyable hour conversations, driving to the ballpark, no phones, just old school conversations. And he really helped me become a champion.
What do you regard as the most honest, accurate appraisal that you can make of the relationship with Derek Jeter? It's a long time. It's complicated. I don't know what can be known or what can't be known. But when I ask you honest and accurate that can be said publicly, what happened there?
Well, I would just say that right now, we're in a great place. He asked me to go to dinner about a year ago, almost today, when his documentary came out, and we went to have drinks right near our home in South Miami, and we sat down for a couple of hours and had some drinks and talked about a lot of great things. But our history is rich and goes back a long time. We met when I was 16 and he was 17. We met at Marklight Stadium, and he had signed with the University of Michigan. I had signed with the University of Miami, so we had a lot of commonalities. That's where his agent, Casey Close, who's still his agent, was trying to talk to me before I chose Scott Boras. And in that 30-plus year history, we've had some ups and we've had some downs, and I think the media was obsessed with our relationship in New York. It was a very meaty story, and negativity sells and big names sell and the Yankees sell and the controversy around the position sells. So it was a mega media story. And he did a nice job of being super disciplined. I wasn't as disciplined. And it created some noise, but through it all, what I remember is great player he was, good teammate. We won a championship together, and now we're teammates again at Fox doing playoffs and World Series every year.
Were you at all surprised that phone call came, that he wanted to just have dinner and drinks? Is it something that's unusual, or is it because this plays out publicly? There's so much vanity. There's so much insecurity. I don't even know if your documentary, well, if he's got a documentary, I got to have a documentary because I had a pretty good career too. I don't know how much competition there is between you, and I don't know what your issues are with the media, like what the issues. I'm curious what you think is the worst thing about sports media, because we can be parasitical.
Yeah, so I mean, I think his documentary was fun. It was good to watch, but in many ways it was up and to the right. I mean, there was a lot of celebration. Mine is going to be a lot of volatility, right? So completely different.
More interesting.
Well, I don't know about that.
No.
Volatility for sure.
I'm saying more interesting. If negativity sells, I'm going to say if volatility is better than just up and to the right all the time.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, and I think, look, it's interesting. When I was at my first couple of years at Fox, Dan, I got a much better understanding how the media works. And in 15 and 16, I was still playing while I was with Fox. And I said, holy smokes, I wish, and this is an advice that I would give to all athletes that are listening, especially the young ones. I wish I would have done a media internship with Fox for a couple of years when I was in high school to then reverse engineer and understand how the media works. I played because I was an infant when it came to dealing with the media. I just came out of Westminster Christian. A few months later, after my high school prom, I was at Fenway Park as an 18-year-old when I should have been a freshman at the University of Miami playing quarterback and shortstop. I was facing Roger Clemens, completely over my skis. My knees were shaking. It was the first time I saw an upper deck. I mean, we had 400 people at Westminster max, right? So it was a lot of growth. It was like turbocharged, and I just was not ready for that. I don't know if any 18-year-old could be ready for that. Maybe LeBron. I mean, he did a great job. Kobe. These are all guys that I'm friends with. Tiger Woods came out early. But I think all of us that came out early, there is one common theme. We had some ups and we've had some downs.